The battlefield had never been this quiet. Space itself felt frozen, as if the stars were holding their breath. The wreckage of human ships drifted slowly, their burned metal catching the weak light from a nearby blue planet. For many hours, nothing moved except cold dust and broken hopes. Humanity's last defense line had fallen. Everyone believed the war was over. The alien fleet hovered above the ruins with calm confidence. Their ships were shaped like sharp blades, long and bright, cutting through the darkness. They made no sound, but their presence carried a cruel message. They had come to end humanity once and for all. A powerful broadcast echoed across the communication channels, repeating the same words in many languages. Human resistance is finished. Surrender is final. Every human listening felt the same pain, fear, loss, silence. But there was one man who did not bow his head, one man who stood straight even when the world around him collapsed. Commander Rian Hale. Inside a dark, damaged human outpost on the edge of the battlefield, Commander Hale watched the empty space through a cracked observation window. Smoke drifted from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Half the systems were dead. He was alone, covered in dust and dried blood, but his eyes remained sharp. He whispered to himself, "It can't end like this. There's something missing. Something is coming." Outside, the alien ships continued their victory formation. Small scout vessels flew between the wreckage, checking for survivors. The alien commanders believed every human ship was gone. They believed the fire of humanity had finally burned out. Commander Hale checked the last working radar panel. It flickered with static, showing nothing but broken signals. Then suddenly, a tiny pulse appeared. One single dot, weak, faint, almost invisible. He frowned. "What is that?" He tapped the screen. The pulse did not disappear. Instead, it grew brighter. At the same moment, on the alien flagship, alarms began to ring. The alien bridge crew looked at their monitors, confused. A strange signal was forming near the far edge of the battlefield. It didn't match any known pattern. Not human. Not alien. Not recorded. The alien commander hissed in frustration. "Why do we detect new energy here? The humans are defeated. There should be nothing left." A young alien officer trembled. "Commander, the signal is increasing." "How much?" "It is doubling every 3 seconds." A cold silence filled the alien bridge. Back in the human outpost, Commander Hale felt the floor vibrate slightly. Something massive was pulling itself out of hyperspace, something bigger than any ship he had ever seen before. He stepped closer to the window, trying to see through the smoke and glass. The space ahead began to ripple, as if reality itself was bending. Dark waves of energy spread across the horizon. The stars behind the ripple vanished, swallowed by a growing shadow. Commander Hale felt his heartbeat rise. He knew what this meant. He knew the old stories. He knew the rumors that no one believed. "No, it's impossible," he whispered. "It was lost years ago." The alien ships moved into defensive formation. Their weapons charged. Their engines glowed red, ready to fire. They aimed everything they had at the growing distortion. The ripple exploded into a brilliant flash of blue-white light, and out of the light came a giant. A warship. Not just any warship, but the Horizon-class dreadnought, the ship known by one name across all human space, the Valorian. Slowly, heavily, proudly, it emerged from the hyperspace tear like a mountain rising from the ocean. Its hull was black and silver, covered in thick armor plates. Rows of cannons lined its sides. Massive engines burned with bright blue fire. Every part of it looked alive, powerful, unstoppable. Commander Hale's breath caught in his chest. The Valorian, it's real. The alien fleet immediately opened fire. Hundreds of energy beams flew across space, striking the Valorian's hull. But the dreadnought did not move. Its shields shimmered softly, absorbing every shot without a single scratch. Inside the alien flagship, panic spread. Officers shouted over each other. "Why does it not fall? Our weapons do nothing. This ship should not exist." The alien commander pressed his claws into the control panel. "This is not possible. The humans destroyed this warship years ago." The officer shook his head. "Commander, our records might be wrong. The humans may have rebuilt it." "Rebuilt?" the commander growled. "No ship can be rebuilt to such strength." But the commander was wrong. The Valorian had not been destroyed. It had been hidden, repaired, upgraded in secret human shipyards. waiting for the day humanity needed it most. That day had come. A deep, powerful voice echoed across all open channels. Calm, cold, confident. This is the human dreadnought Valorian. The aliens froze. Every human who still lived stopped breathing. Humanity is not finished. The dreadnought's main cannon glowed with white-hot energy. The entire battlefield lit up like a second sun. Even the dark side of the planet brightened under its light. Then, a single blast. A massive wave of energy shot outward, tearing through the alien front lines. Entire squads of alien ships exploded into blazing fireballs. Metal and debris flew in all directions. The shockwave pushed smaller ships away like leaves in a storm. Within seconds, the battlefield changed. Humanity was no longer defeated. Humanity had returned, and the Valorian had brought hope with it. Commander Hale watched with a fierce smile. He wiped the dust from his face and whispered, "Welcome back, old friend." The alien stared at the dreadnought in terror. The signal that once seemed small and harmless now filled every radar. It grew brighter, louder, stronger. Humanity's greatest weapon had arrived, and the war was not over. It was about to begin again. The battlefield was still shaking from the Valorian's first attack. Smoke, broken metal, and burning alien ships drifted across the empty void. The blast had been so strong that even distant asteroids changed their paths. The alien fleet, once proud and certain, was now scattered and confused. They had never seen a weapon with such power. Commander Ryan Hale stood in the damaged outpost watching the giant dreadnought take position. The Valorian moved slowly, like a living mountain made of steel and fire. Its engines shined with a blue glow that spread across the ruined battlefield. Even through the broken window, Hale could feel its presence. Heavy, confident, alive. He whispered, "Finally, hope." Inside the alien flagship, chaos grew like wildfire. Officers shouted warnings, reports, and desperate orders. Screens flashed red. Alarms screamed without stopping. The alien commander slammed his fist on the panel, trying to steady himself. "Why is the dreadnought still standing? Why do our weapons do nothing?" he demanded. An officer turned with shaking hands. "Commander, this ship, this warship, its shield readings are beyond anything we have recorded. Our weapons are too weak." "Too weak? Impossible," the commander hissed. He stared at the hologram of the Valorian. It spun slowly in the air, showing impossible armor thickness, impossible shield levels, impossible energy reserves. The ship felt wrong to him. It felt unnatural, as if something ancient and dangerous had awakened. The commander leaned forward. "Destroy it. I don't care how." Yes, Commander." But deep down, none of them believed they could. The Valorian stood like a titan. A few moments later, the dreadnought's hangar doors opened with a slow, heavy sound. Bright white light poured out. A massive number of drones, round, glowing silver, armed with small plasma emitters, floated out like a bright cloud. They formed into several tight formations around the dreadnought. Commander Hale watched with wide eyes. Drone swarms, but upgraded. They looked different now. He knew the Valorian had once carried drones, but not like these. These drones moved with perfect unity, almost like they shared a single mind. They formed spirals, waves, and patterns that made no sense to the human eye but were perfect for battle. The drone cloud shot forward. The aliens reacted too late. Thousands of drones rushed at the enemy fleet, glowing like small stars. They dodged, beams, spun around lasers, and cut through alien ships with quick strikes of plasma. One drone was not powerful, but thousands were unstoppable. Across the battlefield, alien ships exploded in flashes of orange and red. Commander Hale felt something cold and sharp inside him. Not fear, not anger. Something older. The feeling of humanity rising again. He stepped away from the window. The outpost was falling apart, but one emergency pod still worked. He climbed inside, strapped himself in, and launched the pod toward the dreadnought. Through the small window of the pod, he watched the Valorian grow larger as he approached. As the pod neared the dreadnought, Powerful tractor beams pulled it in. The hangar doors slid open and the interior of the ship came into view. Clean metal walls, bright lights, and human crew members rushing to stations. When the pod landed, Hale stepped onto the hangar floor. A young officer stood at attention. "Commander Hale, we thought you were dead," she said with disbelief. "Not today," he answered calmly. The officer guided him through the bright hallways. The Valorian felt like a living fortress. Every sound was a heartbeat, every vibration a breath. The crew moved with purpose. No fear, no hesitation. They had been waiting for this moment. When Hale reached the bridge, the large doors opened automatically. Inside, the command staff stood around glowing screens. A giant window showed the battlefield, where drones danced among alien ships like silver ghosts. At the center of the bridge stood the AI core interface. A circular device glowed with blue energy. The voice of Argus 7 filled the air. "Commander Ryan Hale, your arrival was predicted." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Predicted? By who?" "By statistical outcome. The probability of your survival was low but not impossible. You tend to survive impossible scenarios." Some crew members smiled. Hale didn't. He walked closer to the main display screen. "Argus, give me the current situation." A hologram flickered to life. It showed the entire battlefield. Alien ships were falling back, trying to escape, trying to regroup. But the dreadnought blocked their path like a gatekeeper. "The enemy fleet is attempting retreat," Argus said. "Do we let them?" Hale asked. The AI paused. "Your decision." Hale looked at the crew. Their eyes watched him, waiting for the order, waiting for hope, waiting for revenge. He gave a slow nod. "No, we don't let them." "Understood." Outside, the drone cloud split into multiple wings and turned sharply toward the alien ships. The dreadnought aimed its cannons again. Then something unexpected happened. From the far edge of the star system, a new signal appeared, large, strong, slow. Hale leaned forward. "Argus, what is that?" "Unknown vessel," the AI answered. "Size, enormous." The hologram adjusted. A massive shape appeared, bigger than the dreadnought, almost bigger than the human mind could understand. The alien commander's voice echoed across the channel. "Humans, you think victory is near? You think your warship is enough? You are wrong. Our true leader arrives." The crew stiffened. Hale's pulse quickened. "Argus, identify that ship." The AI spoke calmly, like the voice of fate. "It is the Devourer." Hale whispered. "The alien superflagship?" "Yes," Argus replied. "It is coming for us." And the battlefield, already burning, already broken, prepared for a second storm. The real war was about to begin. Space darkened around the battlefield as the new signal grew larger and larger. It moved slowly like a giant waking from a long sleep. Every alien ship turned toward it. Every human eye stared at it. Even the Valorian seemed small before the approaching shadow. Commander Ryan Hale stood on the bridge, fists clenched. The hologram projection expanded until the entire shape was visible. The ship was massive, far larger than anything humanity had ever faced. Its hull looked like black stone mixed with living metal. It had no smooth lines. Instead, it was built from jagged plates and strange alien structures that pulsed with red energy. Argus 7 spoke with calm precision. "Object confirmed. Super flagship classification. Alien designation. The Devourer." The name alone brought silence to the bridge. Stories about the Devourer had spread across human colonies for years, whispered in fear. Some said it consumed planets. Others said it carried weapons strong enough to break moons. Most believed the ship was only a legend told to make humans surrender faster. But now it was real, and it was coming toward them. The alien commander's voice echoed across shared channels with twisted pride. "Human fools. Your dreadnought is powerful, yes, but you stand before our true strength. You stand before the Devourer, destroyer of empires." Commander Hale stared at the massive ship filling the display. Argus size estimate, length 12 kilometers, mass immeasurable, internal structure layered. Reading multiple energy cores. Unknown technology. Hale nodded slowly. Can the Valorian take it? Argus paused. Probability of survival is low. The crew exchanged worried looks. The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of the engines felt quieter. But Hale did not look away from the hologram. Low does not mean zero. Outside the ship, the Devourer approached like a living eclipse. A huge circular opening on its front began glowing with red light, growing brighter by the second. Its armor plates shifted like muscles preparing to strike. The Valorian's crew braced themselves. The Devourer fired. A beam of red energy burst from its core, wide enough to cut a small planet in half. It shot across the void at impossible speed. Commander Hale shouted, "Shields up!" The dreadnought's shields glowed with intense blue light as the beam struck. The entire Valorian shook violently. Consoles sparked. Crew members grabbed onto railings. The glass panels across the bridge flickered. Argus quickly reported, "Shields at 70%. Hull intact," Hale exhaled sharply. Return fire. The Valorian's main cannon lit up with blinding white-blue energy. A massive pulse shot forward straight at the Devourer. It struck the alien flagship dead center, but nothing happened. The Devourer absorbed the blast through its shifting hull plates. The light faded as if swallowed whole. The Valorian's bridge fell silent. "It absorbed our main weapon," an officer whispered. Hale's jaw tightened. "We need to find a weakness." Argus projected a rotating model of the Devourer. Red lights blinked across potential weak spots. But every time the ship shifted, the weak spots moved. "It is alive," Hale murmured. "Or something close to alive." Argus responded, "The Devourer appears to reshape its armor in real time. No stable weak point detected." Meanwhile, the alien fleet regained confidence. Seeing the Devourer arrive boosted their morale. They reformed into attack formations, moving in lines behind their monstrous flagship. Thousands of alien fighters soared forward like a swarm of angry insects. Hale pointed to the tactical screen. "Drones form defensive arcs. Keep the fighters off our flanks." Outside, the Valorian's drones regrouped. They moved into curved shield formations, blocking alien fire. Explosions burst around them as fighters crashed into the wall of drones, unable to break through. Sparks and shattered metal sparkled like tiny stars, but more alien ships kept coming. On the Devourer's hull, several new openings appeared. Long, jagged shapes glowing with energy. Argus spoke. "Multiple weapon signatures detected. Unknown class. Recommend evasive action." Hale gave the command instantly. "Move us, hard turn, 40 degrees." The Valorian shifted, its massive engines firing with blue flames. The Devourer fired again. This time multiple beams of red lightning shot out, twisting and bending in unnatural shapes. Some beams missed. Others struck the Valorian's shields and carved deep lines of superheated plasma across its armor. The dreadnought trembled. Lights flickered across the bridge. A control panel exploded, sending sparks across the floor. "Damage on deck 12, a crew member shouted. "Fire teams moving." Another responded. Commander Hale braced himself against the railing. "Argus, we cannot outgun that thing." Argus replied, "Correct." Hale continued, "We cannot outrun it either." "Correct." "Then what can we do?" The AI paused for a long moment. "The Devourer has a weakness, but only one." The crew turned to the glowing AI core like listeners at a fire in a dark forest. Hale asked, "Where?" Argus expanded the hologram. A tiny point near the center flashed faintly. A red pulse, small and quick like a heartbeat. "This is the Devourer's primary energy core, hidden deep beneath shifting armor, shielded by multiple layers of organic metal." Hale studied the pulse. "Can we hit it?" "Not from the outside," Argus answered. "Then how?" Argus responded in its calm, steady voice. "We must enter the Devourer." The bridge went silent. Hale blinked. "You want us to go inside that thing?" "Yes," Argus said. "It is the only way." The crew stared in disbelief. The idea was insane, impossible, suicidal. But in Commander Hale's eyes, a spark appeared. A spark of something old and dangerous. The same spark that once helped win impossible battles. He lifted his head slowly. "We go inside," he said. "We finish this from within." Outside, the Devourer opened its massive jaws of metal, preparing its next attack. The Valorian prepared to charge, and the galaxy watched as two giants prepared for the most impossible clash of the war. The Devourer opened wider, revealing a massive ring of shifting armor plates, each one glowing with a deep red light. It looked less like a ship and more like a giant creature preparing to swallow a star. The huge opening pulsed in and out, flexing like lungs. Every time it expanded, a low vibration moved across the battlefield, shaking smaller ships away. On the Valorian's bridge, no one said a word. The crew stared at the terrifying sight. The Devourer was a nightmare built with alien science, a ship that should not exist, a machine that felt too alive. Commander Rian Hale stood at the center of the bridge, eyes locked on the hologram. His heartbeat was steady, but the weight of the moment pressed on him like a mountain. "Argus," he said quietly, "show us the path." The AI core glowed brighter, plotting safest entry route. "Warning, no route is safe," Hale smirked. "Didn't expect one." The hologram shifted, showing a thin path leading into the Devourer's mouth. The path moved through layers of armor plates that opened and closed like giant teeth. Behind them were tunnels, vents, shifting mechanical walls, and glowing organic structures that looked almost like red veins. Argus continued. "The Devourer changes its internal structure constantly. We must enter at the exact moment the outer plates open. If our timing is off by even 2 seconds, we will be crushed." A young officer gulped. "Crushed? As in turned to dust?" "Yes," Argus replied without emotion. Hale nodded. "Understood." Outside, the battlefield shook again. The Devourer unleashed another volley, sending spirals of red energy through space. Some alien ships accidentally flew into the attack and were vaporized instantly. Their own weaponry was too wild, too violent, too uncontrollable. The alien commander tried to sound confident, but fear cracked his voice. "Human dreadnought, you cannot escape! The Devourer will break your metal and your spirit." Hale simply turned off the transmission. "I'm done listening to him." The crew smiled weakly. Hale spoke louder so everyone could hear. "Listen carefully. This is humanity's last chance. If we destroy the Devourer, the alien fleet will collapse. If we fail, we lose everything. Our home, our families, our future." All eyes locked on him. He continued, voice strong and steady. "I believe in this ship. I believe in every one of you. And if you can't believe in yourselves right now, then believe in me." There was silence. Then every crew member nodded. Argus added softly, "Commander Hale has a survival rate of 34% higher than average humans." The bridge chuckled a little. Easing the tension, Hale stepped toward the main controls. "Prepare the Valorian for full-speed approach. Bring all shield power to the front. Release the drone wings for outer protection." The crew moved like lightning. Outside, the Valorian's drones formed a massive V-shaped shield around the dreadnought. They shined brightly, glowing with blue sparks as they prepared for impact waves. The Valorian itself turned toward the Devourer, engines burning with intense light. Argus announced, "Time until Devourer's outer gates fully open, 30 seconds. Hale tightened his grip on the rail. "Steady." The Valorian accelerated. 20 seconds. The Devourer's teeth flexed again, opening larger this time, lines of red lightning running across them. 15 seconds. Alien fighters swarmed around the Devourer, trying to block the Valorian's path. The drones rushed forward, colliding with fighters and clearing the way with explosive strikes. 10 seconds. The Devourer's entire body glowed red, like a giant heart beating harder and faster. 5 seconds, Hale shouted, "All power to engines." The Valorian blazed forward. 4. The Devourer's gates expanded. 3. Sparks rained across the Valorian's hull. 2. The drones parted, leaving a clear path. 1. The gates opened fully. Argus declared, "Now." The Valorian flew straight into the Devourer. Everything went black. For a moment, no one breathed. The ship passed through layers of armor that looked like metal but moved like muscle. Soft red light pulsed along the inner walls. Strange symbols glowed on the surfaces, twisting and changing like living creatures. Inside the Devourer, the space was huge, like a cathedral built for giants. Pipes, wires, organic tubes, and alien machinery stretched in all directions. The walls shifted as if the ship was alive and reacting to the intruder. Argus spoke calmly. "We have entered the Devourer. Internal mapping is impossible. The structure is changing every second." The crew stared at the main window in shock. They were inside an alien organism made of metal and blood-like energy. Hale whispered, "What kind of creature? Build something like this?" Argus responded, unknown. But readings show organic signatures. The Devourer may not be only a ship, it may be part living. Suddenly, the walls moved violently. Plates slammed shut behind the Valorian, sealing them inside. Red energy crackled across the ceiling. Hale snapped, "Shields up!" A wave of red lightning struck the Valorian, shaking the entire ship. Argus reported, "Shields at 60%. Find us a path to the core," Hale ordered. "I am searching," Argus replied. The Devourer began squeezing the space around them. Tunnels narrowed. Walls shifted. The entire interior moved like a stomach trying to crush its prey. The crew struggled to keep balance. Sparks flew. Lights flickered. The Valorian groaned under the pressure. Argus finally spoke. "A path is open, but it will close soon." Hale pointed forward. "Then we take it." "Full speed!" The Valorian surged deeper into the monster's body, dodging collapsing tunnels and energy beams. The Devourer roared, a sound that was not mechanical but almost alive. Hale stood firm. "We're coming for your core," he whispered. "And we're ending this war." The Valorian flew into the heart of darkness and the Devourer began to fight back. The Valorian raced through the twisting tunnels of the Devourer, its engines roaring like a burning star. The walls around the dreadnought shifted constantly, moving like living metal muscles. Some parts stretched open, others slammed shut, trying to crush the intruding ship. Every second felt like a fight against something alive, something angry, something ancient. Commander Ryan Hale stood at the center of the bridge, gripping the railing so hard his knuckles turned white. His eyes stayed locked on the main screen, which showed the rapidly changing alien tunnels. Red lights flashed across the Valorian's hull as the ship dodged falling metal plates and crackling energy beams. Argus 7 spoke in a calm voice, but the tension behind every word was clear. "Warning, internal compression detected. The Devourer is attempting to collapse this tunnel." "Then get us out of it," Hale ordered. The Valorian tilted sharply as the pilot forced the dreadnought through a narrowing passage. Metal groaned. Sparks fell from the ceiling. A massive wall slammed shut behind them just seconds after they passed. The crew exhaled, but there was no time to rest. Ahead of them, dozens of alien defense drones separated from the walls, unfolding like red metal flowers. Their eyes glowed crimson as they synchronized their weapons. "They're preparing to fire," an officer shouted. Hale didn't hesitate. "Release inner swarm." From the Valorian's belly, a new group of drones launched. These were different from the outer drones. Smaller, faster, and built specifically for close quarters. They zipped forward like silver lightning. The Devourer's defense drones fired streams of red plasma, but the human drones dodged and counterattacked. Explosions echoed through the alien tunnels as the two drone swarms collided. Red sparks and blue flames lit the darkness like a small war inside a giant beast. Despite the chaos, the Valorian pressed forward. Argus projected a chaotic map. "We are getting closer to the central core, but the Devourer's inner walls are growing thicker." Hale studied the map. "How much time until we reach the core chamber?" "Approximately 6 minutes," Argus replied. "Then give me a route that keeps us alive for 6 minutes." "Working on it." The ship rushed through another passage as several organic tubes burst open above them, spilling glowing red fluid onto the Valorian's hull. The fluid burned through metal like acid. "Shields at 59%, Argus reported. "We're losing power fast," said the engineer. "We can't keep this up forever." Hale nodded. "We don't need forever. We only need to reach the heart." The Devourer seemed to hear him. The walls around them suddenly snapped shut ahead, forcing the Valorian to brake sharply. Another tunnel opened on the right, twisting like a throat. The ship entered it immediately, but the tunnel began spinning violently, throwing the Valorian from wall to wall. "Stabilizers failing," the pilot shouted. "Hold us steady," Hale commanded. The Valorian's engines flared, fighting the spinning force. Panels shook. Sparks rained. A console exploded, knocking a crew member to the floor. Hale rushed to help her, lifting her shoulders. "Are you okay?" She groaned but nodded. "I'm fine. I can still work." "Good," Hale said. "We need everyone." Suddenly the tunnel straightened and opened into a massive chamber. The chamber was filled with floating platforms, wires, and shimmering red clouds. Mechanical arms reached silently toward the Valorian like long, thin fingers. Strange alien symbols flashed across the walls, shifting like ink in water. Argus spoke. "We have reached the Devourer's internal defense zone. This chamber protects the core." Hale's eyes narrowed. Then this is where the real fight begins. From the shadows of the chamber, something massive crawled forward. It was an alien guardian, half machine, half creature, shaped like a giant centipede. Its body was made of metal plates and glowing veins. Dozens of red eyes opened across its head. The creature let out a high-pitched screech that shook the Valorian's walls. The pilot whispered, "What? What is that?" Argus answered, "Unknown biomechanical guardian." The creature lunged. "Fire all forward guns." Hale shouted. Beams of blue energy blasted from the Valorian's cannons, striking the creature's armored head. The creature screeched again, but kept charging. Its massive legs clamped onto the chamber walls, pulling itself closer with terrifying speed. "More power," Hale yelled. The gunners focused fire. A huge burst struck the creature's eyes, burning several of them. The creature recoiled, slamming into a wall and tearing metal apart. But it was not dead. It opened its mouth, revealing rows of spinning metal teeth glowing red-hot. Argus warned, "If it reaches the Valorian, the hull will be compromised." Hale took a deep breath. "Then we stop it before it gets close. Prepare the shockwave cannon." The shockwave cannon was one of the Valorian's special weapons. Short range, high impact, and extremely dangerous inside closed space. Using it inside the Devourer was risky, but they had no choice. The cannon charged. Energy built up, shaking the ship. "Fire!" Hale commanded. The Valorian unleashed a massive shockwave that rippled through the chamber like a sonic explosion. The guardian creature's armor cracked. Its legs ripped off. Its body twisted violently before exploding into molten fragments. The room fell silent again. Hale exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. "Argus, what's next?" A new hologram appeared, showing a glowing sphere deep in the chamber ahead. "The core. That is the Devourer's heart," Argus said. "We are close." "Then bring us in." The Valorian moved through the broken chamber, pushing deeper. The walls around them pulsed like veins carrying energy. The air seemed heavier. Even the lights felt darker. Finally, they entered the central core chamber. It was enormous, a circular arena with a giant sphere floating in the center. The sphere glowed with red and black energy, swirling like a burning storm. Thick tendrils connected it to every part of the Devourer. Argus spoke softly. "This is it. The Devourer's life force. Its power. Its mind." Hale stared at the sphere. "And we're going to destroy it." The Valorian aimed all weapons. The final battle inside the monster was about to begin. The Valorian drifted into the core chamber like a single spark entering the heart of a storm. The massive spherical core floated in the center of the chamber, glowing with swirling red and black energy. Strange veins extended from it like roots, feeding the Devourer its terrifying power. It pulsed slowly, each beat sending ripples through the alien ship's body. Commander Ryan Hale stood tall at the center of the bridge. His breath was steady, but his heart beat faster. This was it. The moment humanity had fought for. The moment thousands had died for. Victory or extinction. "Argus," Hale said calmly. "Analyze the core." The AI glowed brighter. The core is a hybrid energy organic system. It generates the Devourer's power, shields, navigation, and weaponry. Destroying it will collapse the entire structure. Hale nodded. "Meaning the Devourer dies?" "Yes," Argus replied. The crew watched the display. The core looked alive, as if it were breathing. It felt like they were staring at the soul of a monster. "Begin targeting sequence," Hale ordered. Weapons charged. Panels hummed. Lights flickered. Then the Devourer reacted. The entire chamber shook violently. Metal tendrils shot out of the walls, glowing red, and reached for the Valorian like giant claws. "Shields up!" Hale shouted. The Valorian shields activated instantly, forming a bright blue dome around the dreadnought. The tendrils slammed against it, sending shockwaves across the chamber. Sparks burst across the armor. "Shields at 80%, an officer called out. More tendrils emerged. The Devourer was fighting to protect its heart. Then something even worse happened. The core began to glow brighter and brighter, until it felt like looking into a red sun. A deep vibration shook the chamber, growing louder every second. Argus spoke quickly. "Warning, the core is charging an energy pulse. If fired, the Valorian will be destroyed." Hale gripped the railing. How long? 30 seconds. The crew froze. Hale didn't. All guns, fire at will. The Valorian unleashed a storm of blue energy beams, missiles, and plasma bursts. The chamber lit up like lightning trapped inside a metal cave. Explosions echoed off the walls. The tendrils recoiled, some torn apart, others burned, but the core still glowed brighter. 20 seconds, Argus warned. The Valorian fired again, harder, faster. Heat spread across the bridge panels. The engines roared. Weapons overheated. Hull alarms screamed. The dreadnought pushed itself past its limits. Shields at 60%, the engineer shouted. The core pulsed violently. 15 seconds. The tendrils regrouped and slammed into the shields again, sending cracks of red lightning across the dome. The Valorian shook so hard the crew struggled to stay on their feet. Shields at 40%. Hale wiped sweat from his forehead. Argus, focus all remaining power to forward weapons. That will drain our shields, Argus warned. If we don't hit the core hard enough, shields won't matter. A long silence. Then Argus spoke. Understood. Redirecting power. The lights on the bridge dimmed. Energy surged toward the front weapons, making them glow hotter than ever before. 10 seconds. The Valorian fired everything. A massive blast of white-blue energy struck the core. The chamber flashed so brightly that some crew members had to shield their eyes. The Devourer screamed, a sound that shook the soul, not just the metal around them. 7 seconds. The core cracked slightly. Red steam escaped from the wound. Hale pointed. Again, the Valorian fired. The crack widened. The core pulsed faster, panicking, reacting like a wounded beast. 5 seconds. Tendrils slammed into the shield again. A panel exploded behind the commander. The ship tilted sharply. Shields at 12%. The crew held onto railings as sparks rained like burning snow. 4 seconds. The core screamed again, a deep rumbling sound that felt like the entire chamber was roaring. Hale shouted louder than the alarms. One last shot. Fire! The Valorian unleashed the final blast. The beam pierced the core. A massive explosion erupted from within it. Red and black energy burst outward, ripping through the Devourer's veins and tearing apart its systems. The sphere shattered into fragments of glowing debris. The tendrils that held the chamber together snapped violently. Argus spoke, voice calm despite the chaos. Core destroyed. The Devourer is collapsing. The chamber walls began falling apart. Massive chunks of metal and alien flesh-like structures broke loose. Fire and red lightning raced across the interior. Hale shouted, Turn us around. Full speed. Get us out. The Valorian's engines roared. The dreadnought spun and headed back through the collapsing tunnels. Behind them, the core chamber exploded completely, sending shockwaves through every corridor. The Devourer let out a final dying roar. Tunnels collapsed ahead. The pilot dodged debris with near-impossible reflexes. Metal walls slammed shut just behind them. Red lightning chased the Valorian like hungry claws. Hull integrity dropping, the engineer yelled. Keep going, Hale shouted. The dreadnought burst through a final collapsing gateway and shot out of the Devourer's mouth in a cloud of fire and metal fragments. The Devourer began to crumble. From the outside, the massive alien flagship split down the middle. Red energy spilled out like blood from a wound. Flames erupted across its body. Thousands of alien ships tried to flee as their super flagship died. Then the Devourer exploded. A massive, blinding blast spread across the battlefield. White, red, and black light mixing together before fading into nothing. The Valorian drifted in the aftermath, scarred, burned, shaking, but alive. Argus spoke softly. The Devourer has been destroyed. Commander Hale closed his eyes for a moment, then looked at the crew. It's over, he whispered. Humanity wins. Across the galaxy, communication channels lit up with cheering voices. Humans everywhere celebrated, tears in their eyes. They had survived the impossible. The battlefield grew quiet. But this time, it was the silence of victory. The Valorian, the warship that returned from myth, had saved humanity, and the stars belonged to humans again.